No, I had it. Recorded. Or I can't, I don't know if I
Yeah,
recorded.
RCTV's picking up the Zoom. We'll find out.
My bet is you do.
That's your bet?
I bet.
You blaming me or the viewers? Well, yeah, yes, yeah.
You still need it? Juanita. Hey, Juanita.
Hi. Hello.
That's for the
Well, maybe
team.
no.
That's for the team.
Hi, Juanita.
Hi, how you doing?
Downside stuff.
Sure, but yeah.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Next time, Mary calls me.
Why don't I throw that in either of the bags? Two bags, is that sure?
That's on the agenda. I wasn't there for the first, I mean, I wasn't on the school committee for the first time. But I was for the second, second and third meetings. But I was there.
Minutes. You're allowed to make some, you don't have just minutes.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Minutes. Just minutes.
It's like reading it out.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because you were there, you probably remember what happened. Because,
So you voted here.
yeah.
Because I don't want to risk.
All right, we good to go?
Let's do it.
What is today's date? May 11th, okay. I call the May 11th meeting of the school committee to order. Before we jump in and I review the agenda, let me just say thanks to our hosts. We're here at the MECO headquarters in Roxbury. So thanks everyone for hosting us. We're excited to do our annual meeting here. And our agenda will reflect it as well. So we're going to start with public comment for anything that's not on the agenda. We've got a relatively small crowd here, so I'm not expecting much public comment, but the opportunity will be there. Our focus on excellence tonight is a spotlight on our Boston resident seniors. We'll do the consent agenda, reports, and then the new business section. I want to just express a moment of appreciation for Friends of Reading MECO. And we've got our MECO co-directors here to share with us the state of the Reading MECO program. Dr. Milichewski will review and we'll take a vote to approve the HR director search process and timeline. We will have our Q3 financial update, and then we'll close out the evening with a vote to approve the transfer of remaining funds from a handful of revolving funds that we've been talking about for the last several months. That will bring us to the end of the evening. So with that, let's jump into public comment. So is anybody on Zoom? You can come off mute. If you have any public comment for anything that's not on the agenda tonight, or anybody here in the room who want to say anything, now's your chance. All right, so we'll move to our focus on excellence. My hand to me, sir.
Jericho walks the seniors.
All right, we need your slides for that. I think that'll be great. Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm so sorry. We've got a video we want to share from Candace before we jump in here. So we've got to do this without messing everything up, getting us logged off. I guess there we go. Let's share this window. Share. All right, fingers crossed this is gonna work.
Happy Monday, Reading. Thanks so much for having your school committee meeting at Inc. We're so excited to be partners with you in this process and this progress towards reducing barriers for our babies and improving educational equity and access for all of our kids. MECO, Boston, Reading, everybody is doing work together. So we are so excited to be doing this work with you. I want to say thank you all to all of you who came to the gala. It was so wonderful cutting a rug and hugging and sharing the journey apart with you. And also I wanted to wish a happy birthday to our revolutionaries in training, our revolutionaries in residence, Jerica and Cindy. You guys are doing an amazing job with our kids. Thank you so much for loving, leading, and lifting the legacy of our shared work together. We couldn't do this without you, so thank you so much for being role models for our kids and paving the way for the transformational journey that we're doing together in education. I love you. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Happy school committee meeting, and I'll see you guys I assume. Bye.
All right, thank you for that. All right, now we will have our focus on excellence and spotlight our Boston resident seniors. I think I'm switching to the deck for that, correct?
Correct, slide 4.
Yeah. Okay. Share that. Let's see how this. Figure this out.
Stop share, presentation.
Yeah.
I think it's not in PDF, so it's more than I said.
Let's see. There is a way to share. Well, it's better. All right, we're gonna get there. We're almost there. Share. All right, that's about as good as we're gonna get.
Okay, first we have Andrea Hall. She's been in the Reading Medical program since was in kindergarten. She'll be attending MCPHS this upcoming fall. And she's looking to major in pre-health sciences with I forget how she explained pathways, physician assistance program. Then we have Happiness Deji. She started the program in the 8th grade. She too will be going to MCPHS this upcoming fall, majoring in diagnostic medical sonography. We have Clinton King. You're gonna notice a pattern. Many of our seniors started in the 9th grade. That was part of the expansion with Mr. Curtis Martin, who is here with us today. So we have Clinton King. Started in 9th grade. He's going the trade route with electrical, and he played football for Reading High. We have Carmani. He is still undecided, and he's been in Metco Reading since the 9th grade as well. Barrington, he also started his 9th grade year, going to Monroe College, majoring in sports management. He played football and does track, and is also a part of the SOCA group up at the high school. We have Aiden Williams. He also started his 9th grade year in our program. He will be attending trade, taking up carpentry, and he also played on the football team. And his mom is also part of Fort Metco. Yes.
Next, we have Asan Lane. He will be attending Porter and Chester Institution to become an electrician. Asan participated in winter and spring track and has also been here since his freshman year. Next, we have Janai Belfin. She will be going to Framingham State University, where she will be majoring in business. Also started for freshman year. Next, we have Fabricio Amado. He will be attending Fitchburg State University, where he's gonna major in game design. He's been a Reading Medical student since 2nd grade. Then next we have Rajan Ryland. He's gonna be going to Copen State University, where he's gonna be majoring in criminal justice. He also played football and has been in Reading since freshman year. And last but not least, we have Jakai Hobson. So Mr. Jakai Hobson, fun fact, he has 3 businesses already. So he is going the entrepreneurship route. He's very into tech. He also has his own clothing business, tech business. So he will be getting into that, which we appreciate him. Love that for him, support him. He's been in Reading since kindergarten.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like the businesses.
Yes.
It's awesome. 3 businesses. It's impressive. Right.
So start. And then next we did want to share just some updates across the program for this year.
Yeah, we're gonna hold that. That'll come up very quickly.
Okay.
We'll just- that's just for- here.
Good
Okay,
enough for our senior.
yeah. And we're excited to celebrate them in just a couple weeks here, graduation.
Yeah.
Tremendous. All right, so let's move to the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the consent.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Laura. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Okay, we are all in person, so all in favor? All opposed, and carries 5-0. We will move to reports. Dr. Malczewski, I'll start with you.
Great, I'll share a couple of quick thank yous and congratulations first. We see him here tonight, Curtis Martin, any chance we'll get, this is a chance to thank him too. I think we're all in this room very encouraged and excited with the leadership of Cindy and Jericho the last couple of years as our co-MECO directors. I think they'll all still share the same thing I do, that they took over a program that had a really strong foundation, the work that many leaders have done in the past. And I know that during my tenure was with Curtis Martin. Just appreciate all that he did to, we think, improve our program in so many ways for students. You saw that tonight, even so many of our students who are going on with some big goals and dreams or as a result of entering into the program and the work they did at Reading High School as part of Curtis's expansion work with DESE and the Reading School Committee. So Curtis, you left a lasting impact and legacy in our community. Just thank you for all your work and thank you for being a part of our students' lives. Still, you come to graduation, you come to games, you come here, so we know you're still a part of the Reading community. So a sincere and genuine thank you for you and for your leadership. Two, would like to give another congratulations to Dr. Ramsey Merritt. As the community knows, Dr. Merritt now was completing his residency, doctoral residency in the Reading Public Schools. So he's a third-year student at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, placed in a full-time residency in our district over the last year. Ramsey had done 3 years in our district through like various fellowships and internships, and then culminating with his full-time residency, which did a lot of work supporting leadership growth and development in our district. So huge thank you to Ramsey. Congratulations to him. Thank you for supporting our community. Also, a thank you to Harvard Graduate School of Education. There's 2 years in a row that they've fully funded a full-time resident in our district. So typically the cost of around $85,000, and Harvard committed to fully funding those in our district for 2 years in a row. So again, a huge thank you to Harvard and a big congratulations to Dr. Merritt. And then last, I'd like to give a congratulations to RMHS for just finding out through DESE that they were awarded a 6th innovation pathway, which is the business and finance pathway. I think if you see some of the profiles of students, you can see students who have an interest in business and finance. That pathway came as a result primarily of student feedback. We had our alumni come back saying, we are very interested in the business and finance world. We think we need to do more at the high school to open doors for our students earlier on. So the high school now has a pathway, which we're excited to share more about in the next couple of months, where they will now be able to, students get involved in business, finance earlier on in their studies at the high school. So again, a huge congratulations to the high school, excited to see what's ahead for our students in those pathways. Hey guys.
All right, let's move to liaison reports and I'll just start behind the table. Tom.
I'm gonna start with a bang. I think most of us heard this, but just everybody else hears this. The select board had their retreat just last weekend. And they were notified by the town's accountant that this coming November, she's highly advising that we have a minimum of a $7.7 million override on our ballot. That's the minimum, and she's advising a higher number as well. So that's important for us for obvious reasons. Impacting the FY28 budget. We all know this, well, as well, the FY27 budget was approved by town meeting just a week ago at this point in time. But this upcoming potential override is something we're going to have to strategize that around and plan around over the summer.
Laura.
No report tonight.
Jeffrey. No report. Aaron.
No report tonight.
Just one quick report on my end. The facilities naming advisory committee, now that we're post superintendent search or post town meeting, we're gonna get refocused on that and get that up and running. So at our next meeting, which is on May 28th, I believe, we'll have a committee makeup for that advisory committee, for this committee to approve, so that they can begin their work and come back to us with a recommendation on those 2 nominations. So. Okay, with that, we'll move on to new business, and Dr. Malczewski, I think I'm going to hand to you to say a few words about MECO.
This will be brief. I know we may have some members of Friends of Reading MECO on Zoom as well. This just gave us the chance to say thank you on behalf of Cindy, Jarek, and I for their continued partnership with our administration. We meet with them every couple of weeks with Ilka and Lavonda, chair and co-chair, to work through all different things around our program and program improvement. So we just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to them for their leadership. Also to say that Ilka and Lavonda have also been hosting listening sessions from the beginning of the year with families, with students, with staff to think about making sure our program improves by listening to the feedback of those who know our program the best. So we haven't quite figured out yet exactly how we'll use the feedback for improvement, but just know that they've been working really hard to collect feedback and hopefully more to come over the next couple of months of turning that feedback into some goals for our program as well. So huge thank you to them as always. Cindy and Derek, I don't know if you have anything you want to share about them.
No, we agree totally with everything that Dr. Malinsky said, and we appreciate the partnership that we have with Ilka and Lavonda.
Hi, sorry, I just want to say something. I'm on Zoom. I'm Nabiha, Lavonda's daughter.
Hang on just 1 second. I'm trying to figure out why we can't.
Can you hear me now?
Might be his side, see if Wanda we can hear Wanda.
Yeah.
How about now?
No.
No? Okay, hold
Hold on
on.
1 sec. I'm trying to. See if there's an option here. I haven't even used it. It's like turned on. Let's see.
Wanda or Phil, can you talk, either one of you try to talk to us?
Hi,
I can hear her.
can you hear me?
Can you hear me? No,
You can't hear me? It's Juanita.
I can hear you, Miss Juanita.
I can hear both of you.
What about the audio source on the inside?
Okay, try now.
Hi, can you hear me now?
All right, we did it.
So, I'm Nabiha. I'm Lavonda's daughter. She's unable to make the meeting due to some health issues right now, but I do just want to let you guys know that I am here on her behalf today.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
No
here.
problem.
Awesome. All right, so with that, now we will return to the rest of the presentation. So let me share. All right, take it away. Cindy and Jericho.
We're just, with these next couple of slides, we're just gonna share, all the good that's happening in Reading. So, each year we host 2 events, one in the fall and one in the spring. This fall in October, we hosted, a Reading Mecco family event over at Dorchester Bowl. And you can see a few pictures here. We had a really great turnout with both Reading residents and Boston resident, families with the entire Mecco staff, also present. And then the next slide. We have, which is I think our bigger hit is roller skating. This is our second year now having about 120 families join, and even Dr. Milichowski and his family came and joined us this year, which was nice. But these are always such great events, and we always hear such positive feedback from students, parents, and even Roller Worlds has shared that they appreciate when we come and how respectful everybody is and just how much fun it seems like everybody's having.
Who's the best skater?
Valentina, Camila, Aaron, Jason, and a lot of the high school.
So a lot of the high
boys.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a big turn. Usually the last year was mostly elementary. But this year we actually had a good amount of high school students that came as well. So they showed some skills. And parents too. Parents put on their skates too. I mean,
You,
Tom did, but.
I mean, you can be honest because he's leaving next month.
He was in the practice section.
I was helping my own children.
Leading issues too.
Thanks, Doc. Helping my children.
Actually.
And then, so for middle school, we have some after school tutoring. So the first half of the year, Parker kind of gets prioritized because they're picked up second. So they have an additional, depending on the bus and traffic, an additional 15 to 30 minutes. So we encourage students to go seek their teachers out for any extra support they might need on their homework. Then the second half of the year, it switches over to Coolidge, and Coolidge students have that opportunity. Additionally, there is the option of them taking the later bus up at the high school if their parents are okay with that, where they're also able to receive any additional support after school. And we still do our honor roll lunches for our middle school and high school students. So any student who is on honor roll, they get their own special lunch, which is a good incentive for them. I know as a kid, it incentivized me with food even at this grown age. And then we do our end of the year celebration, which our students do look forward to. We do that with elementary and middle school. And then this slide just shows how we not only support our students in school, but also out of school. So we have our freshman student here, Dione. He made varsity as a freshman and he's a starter. He's the leadoff batter. So we had the privilege of watching him play the other day, which was awesome. We have Sanaya, who was a part of the Finding Nemo play production at Coolidge Middle School. And then Nelly, she was a part of, I think was he the Oscar?
Yeah.
So then you have Miss Sonia, Cindy. So we love going to our students' games, whether it's in Boston or if it's here in Reading. We love to show support for them, not only in school, again, out of school as well.
Next, we wanted to just share some pictures on the MECO Gala. So this was a first for us. And so it was important that we mention it because the reason why we had so many of our staff attend is because we sent out an email and all of the PTOs in Reading got together and sponsored tickets for staff to attend. And so just wanted to note that in the partnership that we have across all schools and all PTOs. So just wanted to highlight that. So in the picture where it says enter in Reading, we have Sonia Lomba, who is the MECO coordinator SAG at Killam, Shaquanda Brown, who's at Barrows. You have myself, you have Katie Buckley, who is the assistant principal up at the high school and we've been doing a lot of amazing work with all the students, especially, supporting our Boston resident students. We have Janina Santiago, who's at JE in her first year. And then we have one of our lovely parents, Tiff Williams, who's very active with For Reading MECO, but also very active in MECO headquarters as well. And then at the bottom, we have Aiden Williams, who's who's one of our students. So we were all able to just attend the gala, and it was just a very beautiful experience and very empowering. And then on the other picture, we took a little picture with Ronnie DeVoe from New Edition. We had to put that out there. Ronnie DeVoe from New Edition, who did MECO. So he was at Newton. He did Newton. And then Marvin, last name isn't coming to me, but he was the manager of the New Edition group, and he also did MECO as well. Next, we just wanted to share some pictures from MECO Advocacy Day. We had a great turnout. We were able to receive funding from MECO headquarters and get a bus. And so here you can see just pictures of students, staff, parents, school committee members who came out to support. We also have a picture of Ilka Lavanda, who actually spoke at Advocacy Day and kind of shared the importance of parent involvement and support with the program. So just wanted to shout them out and thank them for their leadership.
And just for fun, we for the second year in a row have brought the biggest crowd, even though Lincoln Sudbury likes to throw shots at us and say that it's them. It's been us 2 years and
Oh yeah, and the picture at the top we have you can't really see, but that's is it Rep Haggerty, who's the representative of Reading. So he was kind enough to step out of a meeting and kind of speak to us, take pictures with us, and promise the pizza party. So we're gonna hold Rep Haggerty to that.
Nice.
All right. Next, we're gonna hear from our own sophomore Tyree Walker, who joined MECO his 8th grade year. He's the peer elected class president for his grade. He's also here in person. But we wanted to share this quick video that we did.
Can you share a moment where you felt supported and successful as being part of the Reading MECO program?
I would say that it happened in this room that we're in right now when I was a class officer last year and under secretary. And I felt as if that I wasn't listened to and no one really acknowledged my ideas nor all the work that I was putting in. And I sat here with some friends and Ms. Stinson who this is, and I was saying how I wasn't gonna run for office again, but it was actually my friends who convinced me and the citizen to not only run for office, but to run for class president. And I did, and I won, and those two friends are also class officers now, so I think that'd be a defining moment from where I felt like actually a part of things.
And who is Miss Stinson to Reading?
Miss Stinson to Reading is, I don't know, what is Miss Stinson to Reading? Everybody's favorite guidance counselor, social worker, a second mom, maybe, giver, outer, I don't know, everyone knows Miss Stinson.
How has being in Reading Mecco shaped your relationships in Reading and in your home community?
I would say you can vote for Reading community and home, no, it'd be different. For Reading community, it's like they acknowledge that you're getting up at a certain time to be here, to be part of their community and try to, you know, be progressive along with them. And then for home, my family has done Metco for years, so that's like another thing for them. Like they're like proud to see another generation go to Metco and be a part of things.
That's beautiful. Tyree, what has your overall experience in the Reading Mecco program been like so far?
In the beginning, I didn't like it. I really hated it. And it wasn't like just the getting up early. We kind of felt like neglected by our former Metco, like by our old Metco director, but like since young, it did change a lot. And I think it's a lot better now because now we have like directors that actually like care and want to be involved. So it's better now.
What challenges have you faced in the program and how have you worked through them?
In the beginning, I hated Metco. I did. I hated getting up so early in the morning. I hated being around so many people that did not look like me, just simply didn't understand as much as they said they did. I hated learning about civil rights or Black history or slavery. Everyone in your history class looks at you because you're the only Black person. But how I overcome it, I think I just finally I stopped trying to assimilate, I guess, and stopped trying to be like them and just being myself and acknowledging the fact that if they don't like it, they don't like it. But clearly they liked it because they like to be innocent president. So that's about it. That's all I have for that. That's all I have.
What advice would you give a younger student who is thinking about joining the MECO program?
I would say to speak up because you have a lot of feelings of doubt and contemplation or positive feelings, and sometimes you keep it to yourself because you think that you don't have the place to speak because you don't live here. But definitely speak up because the odds are there's someone else that feels that way, and there's at least 5 other people that feel the way that other person feels.
Yeah, from now, yeah.
Yeah. I can only do so.
All right.
Is that for next year that you'll be the student, the class president?
I am now.
Are you also going to be it next year?
I hope I win again. Yes.
Okay, great.
Terry, while we're on it, do you mind just sharing? I think it was really interesting. We were just having pizza earlier, share a little bit of like future goals, kind of like future career interests, things like that. Do you mind sharing that? I think people will be interested to hear that.
What?
Like politics, government.
I was just talking to the school board and Dr. Machesky how I like politics and the listening thing. So
Yeah, exactly.
to me, the biggest thing to advance in anything is just to listen, because sometimes you have people that are like into sports on one side of the building, and then you have people that are into music and drama on the other side of the building. And they'll think, oh, well, I have nothing in common with someone from the opposite side, and I have nothing in common then. But the odds are, if you really sit down and listen, they actually sound exactly the same. They whine about the same things. They complain about the same things. They don't like spending money on certain things. So the best thing to show is that although I'm at a different point in my power, I'm still a peer. I'm still a person that wants to be respected, and I'm a person that wants to give respect. So when you kind of knock down that wall of being, oh, I'm better than you, or I'm from Boston and we're not equivalent, if you just show them that you will listen and that you want to aim to help them and progress, it's a lot easier and it levels up the playing field by a lot.
So next, we just wanted to give a little spotlight to our amazing Michael team. Only took us the whole year to have a full group picture. And then on the side, you'll see the little images on all the different schools from well, the entire district, right, elementary all the way to high school, so we wanted to showcase that, and then, as we go through the slides, you'll see every, MECO coordinator, SAG, or just MECO coordinator, kind of did their own slides, you can kind of see their personality and the pictures, so, yes. So first, we're gonna start off with Shaquanda Brown, who's at Barrows, she's in her year 3. Coming in, she started an annual door decorating contest, at Barrows. And so the first year, it was Black History Month. Last year, it was Women's, History Month. And so this year, I think they went back to, Black History Month. On the next slide, you'll see, don't move now, but you'll see, you'll see some pictures of the doors. She started a Barrows mentoring program as another tier 2 support for students, where they currently have 15 students paired with Barrows staff. She has facilitated the social emotional learning team meetings and currently supports 6 MECO students and their families. And we actually have some Barrows students currently and in the past with us now. So these are some pictures from the door decorating contest. You'll see there was a Malcolm X store, Asia Wilson, who's a basketball player. They had Carl Hamilton, right? Carl Hamilton, who I think he's a NASCAR driver. We have some Basquiat's and George Washington Carver. So a lot of the students and staff really took their time to create the doors, and I think they do like a contest. So it's a building lift for sure. Dr. Milichowski is too nice on the score.
Got you.
On the scoring. This year he did a lot better.
A lot, they needed me to be a little harder of a judge this year, so.
Yes,
I took the
yeah.
feedback.
Yeah.
We're very critical.
He did.
One of Simon Cowell.
Yep. Definitely, so just wanted to showcase some of the doors. Next, we have Miss Cindy, me over here. So I'm the longest tenured medical coordinator SAC, so I was one of the first that Mr. Martin brought onto the team when we expanded. Second year as in the director role, so currently I'm a part of the instructional leadership team, student support team, school council, 504, attendance, assembly team. Also help facilitate and establish tier 2 SEL supports in Birch, along with our inclusion specialist, Jackie Belusi. And our assistant principal, Lisa Azarito. We currently run targeted SEL lunch bunches to support students with foundational skills. And something that we're currently working on is bringing culture night to Birch. I know at Coolidge, they do a culture night, and maybe some of the other schools, I think maybe the high school. So we're trying to bring it at Birch and hopefully to all of the schools as well. Next, we have Janina Santiago, who's at Joshua Eaton. So this is her first year in the MECO SAC role. She currently organizes lunch groups for Gen Ed and our Boston resident students to focus on social skills by using games and rewards. She started WIN, What I Need interventions, to reach more students across all grades, focusing on SEL lessons of the month. And she also assisted in bringing back our JE mentoring program for students who would benefit, right? Fun fact, she's also the twin sister of our other MECO director, Jerica Santiago. So that's the similarity. Yep. Fraternal. Not identical.
I'm older.
Yep. Next. 4 minutes. That's 4 minutes of your right.
It's 4 minutes of enough respect.
Next, we have Sonia Lomba, who's at Killam. She's also at year 3, as well as a lot of our MECO coordinator SAC. She's a part of the IoT, SST, and the district social emotional team. She's also helped implement tier 2 SEL supports and also facilitates targeted SEL lunch bunches for all of the students at the. And last but not least, for elementary, we have Julian Lin, who's at Woodend. So he is actually currently servicing Gen Ed students as well as IEP students. He creates an office environment where students can walk in and feel like they have a place to land. He introduced new and exciting ways to learn about African American history within the school alongside leadership. And he also facilitates social emotional curriculum to K to second grade to help provide foundational skills at Woodend.
Next we have middle school. I'm over at Coolidge. I'm on year 3. When we implemented the 6th grade SEO advisory lessons this school year. I've implemented the 8th grade SEL lessons this year as well. Their block is longer. 8th grade is 50 minutes. 6th grade is anywhere between 15 to 20, depends how fast they get into homeroom. This is my 3rd year being a part of the multicultural committee. Started over when I was between Parker and Coolidge. So Parker and Coolidge now are on year 3 for their multicultural night. I never not have a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade lunch group Monday through Friday. Sometimes I think my door policy is almost too open. There's never not a student in there. And I'm also part of the school's SST team. Next, we have Catherine Quevedo. She's in her 1st year as a MECO SAC. Her positions are very similar to mine. She runs lunch groups. She's part of the MTSS, they call it over at Parker. She runs social emotional groups as well. She has immersed herself very well. She went on the Quebec trip this year. She went on Patriots Classroom, and I gave her plenty of praise and kudos for that because when I was asked, I said no. And she was like, I'm going. Next, we have Luke. He is the coordinator up at the high school. He is also on his 3rd year. He led a school-wide presentation for Black History Month. He's promoted unity and inclusion with the theme of We Are One together. He's taught students how to play chess, which I have seen plenty of times when I walk into his office. He really is playing chess with all of his students. To build critical thinking and community, he's organized a mentor-mentee program, pairing seniors with freshmen for guidance and support, and he also supports and mentors students after school. And last but not least, we have Mr. Michael Daring, who is a district support. He builds relationships and supports students from the inner city of Boston socially, emotionally, and academically. He supports the Embark and Reach program. He's helped mentor students at Phillip and Barrows. He helps facilitate the basketball curriculum over at Barrows, and he develops shared practices and learns from one another. He is also in his 2nd year, sorry.
Yep. And to end for this last slide, I promise this wasn't to toot my own horn. But I just wanted to highlight this because these are letters and notes I received from Reading resident students. As much as we are advocates, champions, confidants to our Boston resident students, obviously in our role, we also impact our Reading students as well. And even though I received those notes, I know for a fact that everyone from our team has received similar things, notes, letters. I see it when I walk into their rooms. Even when I go up to Luke's office, it's not just Boston residents in his room. It's also Reading residents as well. So just wanted to showcase that, representation is not only about helping students see themselves, but it's also about helping students see, value, and learn from others, right? So the presence of counselors and educators of color benefits all students by normalizing diverse leadership, broadening perspectives, and teaching students how to build authentic relationships across differences. And these are all skills that they will hopefully carry on throughout their lives. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Anyone?
Questions? I couldn't agree more that you all impact, the Boston residents and the Reading residents just as much. Mr. L is a legend at Woodend. Amongst my kids, so I can certainly speak to that one. I'll just say thank you for the work that you and the whole team do. It's had such a tremendous impact on our district, and we were fortunate to have Curtis when we did, and left, and we all got a little bit nervous, and it's worked out very well with your leadership. So It's worked out for him as well, I know, but, just thank you for everything. Oh, please.
I'm impressed by the number of like initiatives that your team has started. Is there any talk of anything that you hope to bring next year to any of the schools, or that you've heard anybody talking about hoping to initiate? For me personally, in the middle school level, I always feel like seventh grade is kind of left like on an island, and it's such an important year because you go from, I feel like sixth grade, you still have that elementary personality where you don't care who's gonna judge you, and then seventh grade, it's like, okay, who are my friends who are, so for me, I want to focus on how do we implement SEL also for seventh grade, how do we continue that on, so we just build off on each other from sixth, seventh, eighth grade year. So I know that's one of my professional goals for next.
And then I can share that I know recently, as we all know, there have been budget constraints. Recently, MECO was awarded some additional funding. So we're hoping that that gets distributed sooner rather than later. And so our hope is to also just partnering with Sarah, because I know her and I have had conversations about kind of targeting the educational gaps for some of our Boston resident students. So I'm hoping with the additional funding, we can, just brainstorm ways to kind of really target that and provide additional supports to kind of lessen that gap between our Boston and Reading students. That's definitely on the forefront.
Anybody else?
Can I say something?
Please do, yeah.
Oh, hi. I'm Juanita Jackson. I'm RB Jackson's grandmother. A lot of you all don't know her, but most of you do. But I think y'all are doing a great job. Her second year, she'll be going into ninth grade. Thank you, God. I think she grew and grown a lot from the 7th to the 8th. She matured a lot more like now, and I noticed how she's really like, from that bus ride out there and back home, she matured a lot with that too. And I notice it. I don't say anything, I pay attention. And I'm like, she has a different attitude now. Like, before, like last year, she would come complain, I can't stand the school. I want to leave the school. I said, oh, no, we're going to fight this out. You're going to make it. And thanks to your team there, who gave my granddaughter the support that she needed and the love and the understanding and the caring that I couldn't do, because like I told her, when you're at the school, they're your parents, they're your aunties, there's your sisters, those are everybody to you. When you come home, you're mine, I'm Nana, you're mine. But y'all are doing a great job with her. And I thank Curtis. I think that's his name right there sitting down. Is it Curtis? Is it? Yes. I thank God for meeting him. I thank God for the program. I thank God that she's in Reading, because she had a tough time when she was in the charter school. And I think y'all are doing a great job. And I hope that you get all the support you need, far as money to keep it going and everything else that you need. But I had to get on tonight to say that. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys, even though I didn't meet everybody there, but person to person, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much for giving my granddaughter the support she needs. And I think she's doing a lot better, but that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for trusting her to us as well. Sonia, I see you've got your hand raised. Do you want to go ahead and take yourself off mute as well?
Sure. So for initiatives for next year, I know last year I got to help out with Killam started a play. And so I know next year I'm signing up to be on it. But I also found out one day there was a student coming in to take a dance class. And I was like, what? There's dance here? So I'm going to talk to Extended Day so I can do dance lessons. And I'd love to make them kind of multicultural. And then hopefully tie that into the play. So those are some things. And we were inspired by Julian's multicultural night. So I have already talked to the principal and we're planning to bring a multicultural night to Killam next year.
Thank you so much.
I hope that you can hear gratitude from everyone in the room, but I just hope that you also know that we really, really appreciate your leadership in our community too. If you see the day to day, our counselors are the glue in so many of our schools and are thrown so many different things every day, from students to families to community, to program needs that just come and they're all super urgent. Like you're carrying really heavy things every day and that are really important for our students, for our families, and just appreciate all you've done for our community. I had a student the other day ask me, what did we do before we had Metco counselors? I don't know, like but I think that's a sign just of like the way, so many ways you impact our communities too, academically, social, emotionally, personally for students. So huge thank you to all of our team. I think many who may watch this afterwards or watching live, we appreciate you and or appreciates you.
All right, so our next order of business, we're gonna talk about the HR director search process and timeline. And take a vote at the end of this, but Dr. Francesco, I'll hand it to you to kick us off.
Great. So on your screen or in your packet, you'll see a overview of a proposed draft timeline and process for HR director search. A little bit of context: Michelle Roach, our HR director, served in the role for the last 5 years. Recently let us know that she'd be transitioning to a different HR leadership role in the field. Really excited for her for what is a great career opportunity. Really sad for us. She's done an amazing job in our community over the last 5 years. I say she's done an amazing job. A few things stick out, which I think I wrote about in the packet. One, she's really streamlined a lot of our HR systems and practices in a way that just hadn't been done before her, which I think is leaving behind a pretty good foundation for our district and for the HR team to continue. Two, she builds really good relationships with all of our unions, all of our partners, our staff. I think that shows in things like smooth contract negotiations and other things like that. Three, I think where Michelle is especially skilled is navigating really complex and challenging just HR issues. As you know, in any field, there's a lot of different thorny, challenging, nuanced issues that come the way of the HR office. I think Michelle has constantly handled those with a high level of professionalism, high level of skill, in a way that just I think is set a really high bar. So I think a big loss for us, and at the same time excited for her and what's ahead for her future. So we have outlined here Director of Human Resource Search Process. I will be facilitating this, but I'll be doing this side by side with our incoming superintendent, Dr. Henry Turner, who will just will be present for everything and obviously trying to be involved as much as he can during the process. You'll see that we've listed screening committee members, which we thought the group of folks who work most closely with this role day in and day out. And then you'll see the timeline, which started from a May 7th posting. Application window closes May 31st. That's when we get the screening committee together to start looking at applications, selecting finalists, and then moving through what the committee knows is a pretty traditional process. So love to just pause there to see if there's any questions, concerns, feedback on the process, and also to get the committee's perspective on, is there anyone who may potentially be interested in serving on the screening committees of school committee rep?
I'll jump in.
The goal here is to have someone for a July 1st start date.
That's the goal.
Okay.
We recognize that like this timeline right now has an offer the week of June 15th, which ideally sooner, depending on how the process goes. We know that there may be clauses in some contracts for folks who may be interested of a 30, 60, 90-day notice. So if it does push into July, I think both Dr. Turner and I are comfortable with that. Our goal is really making sure that we have someone at the latest by the middle of August.
Any questions or feedback about the timeline? And then we can. No. All right. Why don't let's take a motion on the timeline and then we'll talk about potential interest and availability from the committee. So I'll make a motion. Move to approve the HR director search process and timeline as presented in the packet. Second. By Tom. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Before we talk about who from our team might participate, I'll just echo everything Dr. Milczewski said about Michelle's contributions over the last 5 years. I think we've sort of universally sung her praises when she's come to us, quarterly throughout the years. And the phrase I always use is she's really professionalized the function. And, you talked about it in the context of systems and teams and that sort of thing, which is a really good way to think about it. This is gonna be a tough loss for the district. Michelle brought a lot to that role, for sure. Okay, so with that, we don't necessarily have to settle on somebody tonight, but if anybody wants to raise their hand, this is certainly an opportunity to do that. It looks like the bulk of the work is the week of June 1st. Yeah, for the screening committee. Any sense of, sort of roughly the number and days and times and.
It's really tough to know how just big the pool will be. We don't know what to anticipate. If I had to put a number on it, I think you're probably looking at about 10 hours. All in the meetings. That's from interviews to screening applications. Probably a couple of hours of resume, candidate packet material reviews in late May. I would anticipate 4 to 5 at a minimum hour-long interviews and then a couple of hours of deliberation. So I can't see us getting out for probably under 10 hours at a minimum.
And you're thinking the interviews will be during the business day or?
Depends on the availability of the entire team, not opposed to other times. And if people want to think about it, I can just loop back out too.
Yeah, I would need to stack it up against my work calendar and stuff that week.
I have flexibility time-wise, but I'm not sure I'm the best choice background-wise. Just, I know there are several people on school committee who have a lot more experience kind of understanding the ins and outs of how HR works. And so I have availability, but I don't know that I would be the best choice. That said, if I'm the only choice, nobody else has availability, I would step in.
I think anytime we do something with a screening committee, it sort of obviates the need to have a particular expertise from any one person on the committee, right? So, I hear you tentatively raising your hand, so we can get, we can see if anybody else is interested and then, make a call, but, I don't think any particular background is necessary. It could be helpful.
I will have flexibility.
Sean, one other comment too, something we've done with other CEO level searches, we have had school committee members speak with candidates too, as part of the finalist interview process, so I'm also not opposed if people want to be a part of it, but also maybe have a chance to meet with a candidate, at some point at the end of the process, comfortable with that as well.
So we'll
Real quick, I'd love to be involved because this kind of stuff. Hiring people is so important to what we're trying to get done and the culture we're trying to set, not to mention. These are huge shoes to fill. We are coming up on negotiations, so, as we think about what we want people to be able to do and how they can jump into the role. Think about their skills, their qualifications and trying to fit that. But I just think some to you, setting a board calendar, like if this is during the day, there's no way. If it's at night, I would find the time to sweeten it, but I don't want to make everybody else work tonight because that's what I'm thinking. That means that Laura, I fully trust Laura, seen her in action in this as well, so that's what we need to do.
All right, so we'll follow up on this one after tonight. Perfect.
I would, if we don't, I would like to be finalists independently.
Great. Okay. All right, with that, we will move to the financial update. I think, Phil, you're still on the line. See you there.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Hear you. Let me find your materials here.
Yeah, you can skip the memo. Just go to the first slide, please.
Slide, okay.
Ooh.
Sure, it's down. There we go. It's not going to be terribly legible for us.
You'll have to do a really nice job explaining, right?
We've got it in our.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Everyone's got it there. All right, go ahead, Phil. We've got a version of it up on the screen here.
All right, thank you. Just one thing, just wanted to bring up about going roller skating after a certain age. My wife went roller skating about 15 years ago with our daughters when they were around 10. And she ended the day by fracturing her leg. Just want to let you know, about roller skating. All right, so third quarter financials with year-end forecast is what you see in front of you. As of this point, everything is tracking fine. We've encumbered all salaries, so we know what we need in terms of paying salaries for the rest of the year. Right now, we're anticipating having just under $1 million left at the end of the year, and that also assumes that all of the non-personnel lines are completely spent, which typically doesn't happen, but that's what we always use as our ongoing or our assumption to do our year-end planning. As of this point, we'll have about 800,000 available to prepay for special education, and we are setting aside 200,000 for the technology refresh. One of the challenges we have with technology this year is 4 or 5 years ago, when we had some money, I'm not sure which grant it was from the government, but we did a big buy on technology. I think it was around 1,000 devices, and typically we've been buying about 400 to 500 a year. So Julian has been working over the last couple of years to pre-buy some of those, but we still have to buy more than we typically would at the end of the school year. So we have 200,000 that we've set aside out of fiscal year 26 funds. We have $100,000 not grant, but the targeted, what is it called? Dr. Milichewski, the well, whatever it is, $100,000 set aside for technology. I think it's for the high school or overall for the grant to buy technology. And for next year, for fiscal year 27, the town has upped our money for capital expenditures to 250,000. So Julie and I have had a lot of conversations. I think we're in pretty good shape in terms of being able to buy what we need in terms of replacement for fiscal year 27. I also want to point out at this point, the results you see here assumes that there will be no money being returned to the town out of the general fund. You know, historically, we've always returned a little bit, but 26 was a little tight, 27 was even tighter in trying to get ourselves as best position as we can for 27. So as of this point, out of the general fund, we're not planning on returning any funds. I mean, that can always change when we get to year end. Any questions on the general fund?
Bill, sorry if you said this and I missed it, I apologize. Are we tracking towards doing out of district tuition prepays as we normally do?
Yeah, 800,000.
800,000, okay.
Yeah, which is down. We've been running between $1 million and $1.2 million the last couple of years.
Well, that's at 790 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Okay, thank you.
How does that compare percentage wise, not absolute value wise, but percentage wise of our out of district placements? Is that hitting the same percentage, or are we going to be behind the 8 ball where we normally are?
It is, Mr. Wise. It's lower than what it has been. We are expecting that the out of districts for next year are going to track slightly below what they are this year, but down 400,000 the prepays. We are going to be behind where we'd like to be. On the other hand, our circuit breaker reimbursements, if it gets fully funded at 75%, are also anticipated to be up a few $100,000 because of this year's expenses. So if next year turns out to be flatlined or slightly less, that will be a benefit to us. Will help make up some of that difference between the 800,000 and the $1.2 million.
There any other ways we can squeeze other more money out? I mean, you said you're forecasting at the non-salaried lines to be fully spent. That doesn't usually happen. Is there a process we can go through over the next couple of months to realize what should be true savings and not just spending money to spend money?
Well, at this point, we're getting to where we are starting to close down the POs, and for the most part, we're going to be cutting off taking any more POs for fiscal year 26. I plan on having the year closed out by about June 21st this year. So we're not really going to know what that number is probably until the middle of June. But yeah, we're going to squeeze what we can, but I also want to be able to hold back in terms of whatever we can in terms of some of our other non-general fund balances as well. And that will make a little more sense when we get down to some of the revolving accounts. So to rephrase, we're gonna squeeze as much as we can, get as much as we can left over at year end. So I would, the 998 you're seeing right now, based on what we know right now, that would be the minimum. But again, anything could change.
Yeah. I'm looking at other offsets too, to try and figure out, like this number being down going into next year from our prepay is not a good spot to be going into that year. And we look at any other offsets that may be appropriate, like special education tuition. We're forecasted to be significantly higher than we started the year. 140,000+ higher than we started the year. That closed the gap pretty well. And is directly aligned. I'd love to see more ideas here to bring that number up and tighten the belts elsewhere where we don't need to spend the money. I'm not cutting off needs, right? But where we are optionally choosing to spend certain money just because we have money at the end of the year, or hopefully that's not the case, but we should be looking here to make sure we're setting ourselves up for FY27 in as good a shape as possible.
Yeah, but our philosophy has always been is that we try to end the year with what we took in the current year. And so, well, you'll see that the balance for special ed tuition will be up. That's because the revenue's been up this year. So we are using out of that line what we took in last year. If I start digging into this year money, that kind of blows our entire strategy for the budget. So we've already done that for 27 in terms of school choice, where we are digging into, and for 27, we're going to be using 27 money in fiscal year 27 and not being able to hold that for fiscal year 28. So while you're seeing that go up, again, that's fiscal year 26 revenue that typically we hold the whole thing over until the following year. And next year's budget assumes that number, that the higher number that you're seeing is what we're going to have available for offsets for next year. All right, I guess we go to the next one.
All right, Bill, just one more question on the regeneration piece of this, returning to the general fund. You mentioned, I know you provided Sharon Engstrom with some guidance on, some early guidance on FY28, as part of their planning. Does she know, it doesn't really change the macro position from a free cash perspective, but does she know to expect nothing to be returned this year?
That never came up in any of our conversations. I mean, last year's number that we returned ultimately ended up being about 40,000. No, actually it was about 6,000 because the rest of it was going to be from reimbursement from an insurance settlement. So last year we had about 40 at most. And, we didn't really have any conversations with her about that for 27 yet. I mean, 26.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't really change the macro position in any meaningful way. I'm just curious whether it would come up. Thank you. All right, you want to speak to grants?
Yeah, the grants are running where they need to be. I just want to point out a couple of things. You'll see that the Metco year-end balance right now is expected to be almost zero. That's because the Metco grant has been level funded for the last couple of years, and our expenses continue to go up, primarily in the busing, on the busing line. Busing is as we all know, is extremely expensive. And then if you go down to under the Fed grants, under the IDEA 240 grant, we started this year with about 288,000 available, and we're projecting this year we're going to end with only 148,000. Again, the IDEA grant has been flatlined again for a number of years, and our expenses continue to go up. So those are the two big items that are impacting our projected ending balances on all our grants. Right now, we're projecting about 190,000, where last year we ended with about twice as much, at about 370,000. And if we get the good news on the Metco grant, that will be nice. I don't see us getting any good news in terms of the federal grants.
For those who've been following along on the Metco grant, so it's currently a $30 million grant overall. It looks like the number we've seen bouncing around is 30 and moving up to 33 million at a minimum. When I've talked to legislators, they feel pretty confident that that's sort of the floor of what they think the increase will be, paired with a couple of other one-time monies as well. So I think we're optimistic about the Metco budget this year, but we're still sort of waiting to get clear, confirmation over the next couple of weeks, hopefully.
do we expect that to be distributed, according to more or less the same formula?
Correct.
To get-
Per pupil, like 10, so you get 10% jump.
Okay.
Excuse me. Okay, any other questions on the grants? Excuse me. All right, if we go to the next slide. So this is revolving accounts. First piece of good news at this point is that we are forecasting that all of our revolving accounts will be positive by the end of the year. Can you slide it over? Because I want to show the forecasted balance, because that's probably the more important thing. So as of right now, we're forecasting at the end of the year that our overall balances will be just about what they were at the end of last year. Last year we were about 2.8 million. This year will be slightly over 2.8, about 2.84. A couple things to point out as we go down. Community education is doing quite well. The after school programs, a couple of years, 2 years ago, we were negative. We started this year at about 140,000. We're going to end the year forecasted right now at about 368,000. So they've done a great job in terms of the programs that they're offering and changing some of the ways that they're charging for the programs. And so I think that's in great shape. It's being well run, and I don't have any concerns at how it's running right now. So that's good. We go down to the kindergarten tuition. This year, we're forecasting to use 430,000 of what we had left in that account, which will leave us 128,000 for fiscal year 27. And we've baked that 128,000 into next year's budget. Preschool program, we're projecting to use 550,000 as an offset this year, which will leave us 276,000, which is 100,000 less than we started the year. We need to keep an eye on that because we don't want to dig too much more deeply into that. And for fiscal year 27, we've dropped the offset back down to 450,000, and that's more in line with the overall revenue that we get for the program. Trying to keep that balance in that account at least at around $200,000. School choice, we started the year at 311,000. We're projecting to use 308,000. Again, that follows our philosophy that we use in the current year what we ended the last year with. So last year we ended at 311, and we're projecting to use just about that whole 311,000 this year. And so the 536 that we are projecting to have at the end of this year, that is also baked into next year's budget. And this is the one line where in fiscal year 27, we will have to use current year revenue to cover current year expenses. And I think we using about 400,000 of next year's projected number. So that's the one area where for 27, we are violating our philosophy of keeping this year's money that we get in, that we use it all in the following year. The other thing I want to point out is just for some clarity and also to help to understand it better, we've taken the school lunch program and I've split that fund into the operating results and the capital results. Because one of the things that we're running into is we've been spending money on capital, and that's been coming out of the surplus that we had. But when it was all one line together, it made it look like the program was actually negative from an operating perspective. So I wanted to break that out because the operating shows us, what we're doing currently. And for fiscal year 26, we are projecting to be a little over break even, about 50,000 to the positive side, which is good. On the capital side, we've spent $98,000 on capital this year. So we will end the year, we started the year with about 790,000, and we'll end the year with about 740,000. And again, the reason why that's going down is that we are, over the last 3 years, we continue to spend money on capital, and we have not had to go to the town to get capital. We've bought a van, we've bought ovens, and various other items over the last couple of years to the tune of about, I think it's about 300 or 350,000 at this point that we have used for capital items that in the past we would have gone to the town to get that money. So we're going to continue to see what else we're going to be using up for capital over the next couple of years. I know we need to get a couple more serving lines in, and I think we want to try to buy some more of the ovens, which I told you about before. Those are the ovens where they can both bake and clean themselves. And hopefully we get those across the entire district over the next couple of years. You'll also see that we have two other funds out there now. We have for the summer programs and as well as the catering. Catering is starting to grow, and that's where Katie and her staff have been doing things such as providing food to meetings at town hall as well as some of the meetings internally. They also serve lunch at the senior center a couple of days a week, and so that continues to grow. And I would, put the plug out there. It's a good program. They serve good food, and the price, you can't really beat the prices. And then on the summer side, Katie started working on building up the summer program last year, and that actually has two components with it. One is the summer programs that are funded by the federal government, and she's doing those in Woburn and in, I'm trying to go down 128, Waltham. And she's also, though, going to be doing summer programs. She's going to be providing lunch over to the Y here in Reading, and that is not funded by the government. That's just a straight, the Y is going to be our customer, and we're going to be providing lunch to the kids over the summer programs. So again, it makes good use of what we have, because typically over the summer, the equipment lies fallow, doesn't do anything. But Katie's been able to build up business over the summer, which allows her to hire some of the staff to work over the summer. And so that's a benefit to the staff, and it's a benefit to the district as well. Other than that, there's not much else going on in terms of the revolving funds. Any questions on the revolving funds? I know I went rather quickly.
I do have a quick question on the school lunch capital. I agree with you that it's the right thing to do to split that. Can you just speak to a little bit about where that capital funding came from? Because I don't see any going into it now. So how did we get the 780?
I think it was 4 years ago, we got additional money from the government, one-time funds for food services, which allowed us to have a rather large surplus back in fiscal year. Oh, I don't have my numbers in front of me, so I may be off by a year. It was either 21 or 22. We had a very large surplus because we got the additional funding from the government that we really didn't need, and that's what really built up the surplus in the account. Because on an operating side over the last couple of years, we haven't been really, we've been breaking even or slightly above. So that's where the majority of that money came from. That was probably about $900,000. So it was fortuitous that we were able to get that money, but we didn't have to use it to offset any of our expenses. Now, and I think I've said before, one of the challenges that we're having right now running the food service program is the cost of food. Cost of food's going up, and our reimbursements from the government are not going up at the same rate as inflation's going up on the food service side. So I've been working with Katie to make sure that we're keeping an eye on our expenses to keep things in line, because that's one of the things that can suddenly come back and bite us if we don't keep our eye on it. And Katie and I have both been keeping an eye on it all year to make sure that we get the program to continue to run at least at a break even. In terms of building that back up, that really depends on how well or what happens with inflation on food over the next couple of years. Hopefully that will start to come back down as soon as some other things in the world settle back down. And I'm hoping that we start building up the surplus in the account again, so that we are positioned in terms of more capital expenditures. It's a benefit to the town when we do that, because we don't have to go to the town and ask for the capital.
Just mechanically, so this is a single fund code.
Yeah.
At one point, this was a single line item, and that balance represented both operating and capital. And I think, Phil, you just sort of made the decision to structure it this way and put the entirety getting balance in capital, knowing that operating was likely to cover itself, which is where we're with 53 forecast balance at the end of the year. So would the intent be to roll that 53,000 over to the capital line as part of next year's?
Oh, yeah, yes. I mean, it just rolls into the overall. I mean, this is an artificial split by me, just so that I can isolate the operating results, because that's the primary focus, because we need to keep the program on an operating basis breaking even at a minimum. And so, it's an artificial break, but the money that's left over is I'm saying it's available for capital or any large expenditures that we need. So yes, the 53,000 gets rolled over. So when I line this up for Q1 for fiscal year 27, the opening balance again will be the 689 plus the 53, which would be the 742.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to reserve fund.
This is just the donation funds, nothing much going on here. I do want to note also under the Special Education Reserve Fund, we're not planning on making any contributions to that for this year. We just do not have the funds to do it. And I put a couple of notes down just so as folks can remember that interest on unrestricted gifts belong to the general fund. I know that we're working on, which one is it, Dr. Milichewski? Is it the Libby Scholarship? We're trying to get that changed?
Yeah. How's that going?
Good. So Colby's office is having to work with the probate court. They're in talks with the probate court now to try to get the language of the trust changed. So they say the process sometimes can be weeks, sometimes can be years. So we don't know. So we're holding patent for now.
We've heard from the administrator of the.
We have, yeah, she was really helpful.
And she's on the line that this should have been done the way we're talking about, or?
Not necessarily, to be determined. So saying that she couldn't be the one to take the lead of the probate court for us because she will have to be called upon as a witness on this. So we had to fully turn it over to Colby's office to take the lead on it, and then they'll go back and reach out to her. She thought that his intent, he used the very specific language around drawing down the principal. Yet she thinks that the intent of it was to last as long as it possibly could. So I think she believes that I don't want to get too far into it, but believes that there's reason to believe that he wanted it to last long, and that's going to be our argument. More to come. Keep you posted.
Did you want to go back to?
Yeah, I want to just real quick. Phil, I want to go back up to the lost books and tech. And again, I'm looking at the end of your budget, the money and all that kind of fun stuff. So what's the revenue source for lost books and tech?
Excuse me. Let me scroll back down. Students at the beginning of the year, I think it's $25 to buy insurance so that if something happens to their device, they don't have to pay for it. They pay their insurance for it. And so that's used by IT to pay for the repairs for students' devices that get broken during the course of the year. In fact, I was just up there last week where a student came in with a rather badly damaged device and they didn't buy insurance on it. And if they don't buy insurance, then they're responsible to pay for it. And the student knew that he had to pay for it, and his parents told him that he had to pay for it, and he had to bring his own checkbook to pay for it. So we offer the insurance to all the students at it to be able to avoid doing that. And the lost books, I'm not sure what. I think if somebody loses, I think in the past when we had real textbooks, if they lost a book, they had to pay for it.
And the forecasted expenditures against this, is this for replacement hardware that we know of? Right?
It replaces, when they have to buy supplies to repair damaged devices, and if the device is damaged beyond repair, then they have to buy a new one.
So where I'm going with this is, can we squeeze $25,000 out of this?
I prefer not to. I've got 1,200 devices in the district that more than 1,200. And, again, Mr. Wise, when we get down to June, I will squeeze wherever I can and let you folks know where we're squeezing it. But as of right now, I can't say that I'm comfortable doing that because I don't know where we're going to be year end when all the devices get returned back in. Because, a lot of that money to repair them is going to come after the end of the year when the devices come in and the staff gets a chance to look them all over.
Why does the revenue precede the expenditures so much then if it's like an insurance payment?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
So the way you describe this is we have a device that gets damaged, during the year, needs some repairs. Most of that we at the end of the year when devices are turned back in. which is why we've got a big chunk in Q4 of forecasted expenditures. That part makes sense. You described the revenue is coming from, insurance, claims essentially against an insurance policy. Why do we realize most of the revenue by Q3?
Actually, we get most of that revenue in Q1 because the students have to buy the insurance within the first couple of weeks of the school year.
It's actually like the premiums that students are paying
Yes.
essentially. Okay, got it.
Well, let me rephrase the question in a different way. Then why is insurance not paying for the fixes to these machines as opposed to us paying it out of this?
Because
account?
this is our own insurance program.
So it's self-insurance.
Exactly. We're self-insuring. That is correct.
Okay. In which case our actuary is doing a pretty good job. This is where it lands. So, right.
But you do bring up a good thing, Mr. Wise. Maybe we should look at an outside one just to see if it would make sense.
Yeah, it's also, looking at the 200,000 you have planned for tech refresh. If some of this money could be used as part of that too, is what I was going. And
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Right, so you already have a tech refresh plan. Some of this theoretically applies to tech refresh, so therefore, thus hence, free up some of that money to go for special education.
Yeah. And as you know, one of the issues that we're having in terms of buying devices is the prices have gone up quite a bit over the last couple of years.
I also wanted Phil to thank you for eliminating that Coolidge extracurricular.
Well, it hasn't been eliminated yet. You folks need to vote on it when right after this, I believe.
Okay, give him a vote here in a minute.
He's recommended.
All right, I think we did reserve funds.
Student activities, there's nothing really going on there other than, we're going to move that to $2,698 out of the Coolidge extracurricular over to the Coolidge student accounts, a student activities account. And that is the motion that has to be done after we finish going through this. And I believe the last one is the scholarships. Nothing to report there. In the case of these, they do get credited with the interest that they earn throughout the course of the year.
Any questions on any of those last few pages? Okay, thanks, Phil. All right, our last order of business, as Jeffrey alluded to, is approving the transfer of remaining funds from the Coolidge extracurricular revolving fund to the Coolidge student activities revolving fund, and then to close the extracurricular account. I'm going to split this into two motions. So let's just make a motion on the first one, and then we'll have any discussion. So I'll move to approve the transfer of remaining funds from the Coolidge extracurricular revolving fund to the Coolidge student activities revolving fund, authorizing the superintendent to designate to complete the necessary accounting entries.
Second.
Let
Jeffrey take a second.
Jeffrey, all right, I think that might be your first second. Congratulations. Any discussion on moving the funds? This is the culminate. This probably turned up, what, 2 quarters ago, 3 quarters ago?
Maybe more.
Maybe more, yeah. So it's
maybe multiple years.
Yeah.
Justin talking.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah, I know I've seen this multiple, where nothing has happened in that particular account. No money came in, no money went out.
Oh, it's been years.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been years that it's been an issue. I think if we probably only sort of asked Bill to get serious maybe a couple quarters ago.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion on this? Okay, all in favor? And all opposed? That carries 5-0. Then the second motion would be a move to close the Coolidge extracurricular account, authorizing the superintendent or designee to complete the necessary accounting entries.
Second.
Seconded by Aaron. Any discussion on that one? Okay, all in favor? And all opposed, and it carries 5-0.
Thank
Right.
you.
That brings us to the end of our agenda. So again,
There were some transfers kind of into that do we need to do those or those? For in the
financial update.
The financial update, right, like the general education was overspent or projected to overspend, so do we need to do those?
No, those are done at year end.
Okay, so you can spend that money even if it hasn't quite been transferred yet?
Essentially, yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
we're voting June.
okay. That brings the end of our agenda. So again, just thank our hosts here at Netco Inc. For having us this evening. Thank you to Cindy and Jericho for Jericho anyway.
She was here a second ago.
Okay, I totally missed her sneaking up. Okay, all right, thank both of them for being here and all of the work that they do. And that will wrap us up this evening. Is there a final motion? To adjourn? Motion to adjourn by Jeffrey. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Laura. All in favor? And all opposed? And we are adjourned at 8:23. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, it's.
That's fine.
Oh, yes.
Dave travels back from Paris, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.